Hi everyone, today is September 15th, 2018, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deck Tech.
And this week had a lot of new things going on. The KC Cup ended early on Sunday or Monday morning, I believe, and a bunch of new events happened. Yubel is finally here after teasing us for a really long time, since the beginning of the year probably. We finally get to get her event, get her early this morning, and her new cards. And also we have some news about 5Ds coming, so there's a bunch of data mine things, and also there are new things with Decklist Features. So there's a ton of stuff going on right before 5Ds comes. Tech, where are you in all of this?
I am in scrub ranks is where I am. I noticed that it has now been so long since I hit King of Games that I don't have any in the little previous seasons bar. So I figured I should probably get it this month so that, I don't know, I have some legitimacy to my name. But I started playing in Platinum and I got memed on like 4 times in a row, and I just got frustrated and stopped playing and picked up Spider-Man and started playing that instead. So I'm going to get back into it. I think I've recovered enough from the memery, and hopefully I can get out of that weird little area and into the actual meta where you can kind of react to the meta and expect things and, hopefully not get memed out too much, too frequently, too hard. All that.
I'm gonna get into something on my own, and I think you know what I'm gonna talk about soon.
I do, yeah.
I'm just gonna unleash it. But what memery are you talking about? Like, what specific decks are you talking about?
Oh, nothing like just kind of a series of bad draws. Like I got OTK'd by 3 different decks in three games in a row, and I was just like, all right, I'm done. So one of them was Sylvan's, which isn't even a deck anymore.
Oh yeah, I'll just make you quit the game.
Yeah. And I don't remember the other 2. I think one might have been Masked Heroes or something, and I was just like, okay, I'm done for the day, or for the week, I guess. But I'll get back into it now that we're at the weekend, and hopefully I don't Spider-Man too much. How about you? What are you up to?
Yeah, so after the Kaiba Cup, I actually did play, and I got all the way to the end. I almost hit King of Games. I'm at Legend 3. I've been there for about a few days, and I got to the promotion match, and I think it was that game where I misplayed so bad. I say this a lot. When I play Vampires, I misplay all the time. This one was just so costly. It was a mirror, and I got my BLS out. And I get to banish 1 card. They had 2 monsters in attack mode and 1 defense mode. For some reason, I banished their attack mode monster. They had 1,100 life points. If I attacked their 2 monsters, I would have won the game. Because they're in attack mode.
Right.
I banished the one in attack mode instead of the one in defense mode. For whatever reason. It's just like so ridiculous what I did.
Yeah.
And because I only had 400 life points. And then the econ took me to win the game the next turn. So
yeah,
my BLS was bigger than my 2,000. So
whoops,
that happened. And but and I'm facing the demotion match because I'm just tilted. I was tilted last night, but I should be able to hit it. I like this deck a lot. I do face a lot of vampires in the mirror, so they are a tier 1 deck. I think they're really good. And there's several ways to build it. You've seen some Jinzo ones, but I'm using the BLS version.
One thing that's interesting... oh, sorry. Keep going.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, one thing that's interesting is that it does seem like it's the tier 1 and meta-defining deck, but it doesn't seem oppressive, to me at least, having played a little bit less against it than you have, mostly in the KC Cup, but it just seems like it's the best deck, but not, like, warping the meta.
Yeah. I've had some discussions with people online, and I have said that the life cost 0 is completely skillless, and I saw the Decade video where he combined it with vampires, and I can see some decisions being made about what you want to summon. Like, no one really played Ryu Senshi until he did. I've never seen the Ryu Senshi, actually. I've only seen it in that video.
Well,
And,
I protest that, but that's okay.
yeah. When you're using the Gatling Dragon, I guess there are some decisions to be made, but I guess playing vampires, like I say I misplay all the time because I actually do. There's a huge skill cap. And I misplay a lot, and I often notice, like, oh, that actually cost me the game. I knew why I lost the game. Not like that misplay where it was just kind of dumb, where I just didn't know how to do math. But sometimes, like, which card to dump into the graveyard, which card to play, Gozuki versus Samurai Skull, which spell trap to draw from your retainer. There's a lot going on, and you actually know when you lost the game. And I still stand by that life cost 0 it should be nerfed. It feels like an exploit. It feels like the bamboo to me. Just because the Cyberstein is unlimited, and they have so many cards to just lose 3,000 on their turn. There's the Cosmic Cyclone. The Cybernetic Fusion is the biggest offender, I think. Is used to lose 2,000. And I've seen in a deck that just runs cards to lose life points for no reason. And that's how they get to the life cost 0. Cards that are just completely irrelevant to lose 2,000 life points.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I'm pretty sure the Ryu Senshi was, and the reason why I protested it is because when Cyberstein was big in the TCG, that was one of the cards that you always ran with it. So I've always run Ryu Senshi in my every Cyberstein deck that I built. I always had it, and I think other people who came from the TCG probably did the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas people who only know it from Duel Links might not have kind of realized that it's a pretty good card. It's not as good as I thought it could be, but it is still a very solid card. Just because of the speed of the interactions. Like, some things it can't counter, like, that I would want it to counter, but whatever. That's fine. Probably better that it's not, because then you'd be jumping time.
Yeah, I guess the econ limit makes it better, because not everyone will just have econ all the time. Some decks just won't even have it, so...
That's true, yeah. And then also we have a lot fewer Sphere Karibos in the meta now than we did kind of last time that Life Cost 0 started seeing a little bit of play.
Yeah. Unless it's a Life Cost 0 mirror, then they'll definitely have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, I should hit King of Games soon. I like the deck a lot. I was on a win streak until this happened, so this misplay thing happened.
Yeah. Sounds like you're really close, and you'll probably get there soon. I am still pretty far away, because I'm pretty sure I'm still Platinum 1 after getting dunked on by the memery. So, I definitely...
East go at full force. There's no ranks to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I might as well just start going at it. Yep. We're halfway through the month, so I need to actually do that, or else I'm going to miss this month, too.
Right. Oh, let's see. So, this week in esports, we go over the notable tournament for the week, which is Duel Links Meta Weekly number 37. This took place on September the 11th, 2018. I just talked about vampires, and they showed up here in the meta. He showed up 31 times versus 29 for the Amazons. Of course, this is a two deck format. Those are the most common decks. Masked Heroes, they've just been around forever. They're number 3. It seems like they're making a comeback, too. It seems on ranked there's more Masked Heroes than ever.
Yeah, I do think they made a comeback during the KC Cup a little bit, it seemed like. The hype seems to have slightly calmed down a little bit in this compared to other things that I've seen. The UA hype definitely calmed down compared to previous weeks. But when you say 31 decks, there were only 52 players, so that's about 60% representation bringing vampires, 60%-ish bringing Amazonas. So that's a pretty good concentration. It's not like just oppressive, like we were saying before, where if we had, I don't know, like 40 or 40 plus players, then I'd be like, okay, there's probably a problem here. Every single person's bringing it as one of their decks. But you can see it there in the overall numbers, and then once we get into the decks, you'll see it as well. That it's definitely kind of the deck to beat now.
First place Lula with Cyber Style, UAs, and Sealed Fires. I feel like the UAs got to their optimal deck really fast, and this is their optimal deck. You've got some Sphere Karibos, you've got some Cosmic Cyclones, you've got some Paleozoics, and then all their core cards. Sealed Tombs Vampires. I've noticed that Sealed Tombs comes up more in the tournament format than the ranked ladder. It seems like it's a much better tournament skill, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I was planning to talk about, is that Sealed Tombs is a definite reaction to the vampires in the meta, right? That's why it's become so popular, and it makes sense in the tournaments because you pretty much know that one of the two decks, or at least 60% of the time, one of the two decks is going to be vampires. So you can have a fairly good shot at playing against it. I think you have to win with each of your decks, right? That's how they do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can pretty much guarantee that, I guess that's bad math. That's bad even for fuzzy math. But you have a very good chance for it to be relevant, and so it makes sense there. It also makes sense a little bit for Amazoness. It's not nearly as strong for Amazoness, but you get some splash value there. So.
And this vampire deck is very throwback, I guess. There's no non-vampire, there's no non-zombie cards. That's what I've noticed. Sometimes you throw in some card that's not a zombie. Like I do. I use BLS, so.
Mm-hmm.
Aegis, second place, Cyber Style, Jinzo Vampires, and Switcheroo Spellbooks. Jinzo makes a ton of sense in place of BLS, and that's because the vampires typically take out one card at a time, one card per turn, like with race or simultaneous loss, so they're kind of slow. Sometimes you just wait out your opponent and keep throwing one card at a time, but Jinzo just skips that altogether. So, coming in, no traps. And Switcheroo Spellbooks, there's not much development on Spellbooks. You see them a lot less on ranked for sure, but it seems they're just as good. They've never been bad in the tournaments, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're always an option. Probably not. Hasn't been like your top deck for a little while, and now it's pretty limited. There are only 6 people who brought it, but obviously it made it to second place, so it's a very powerful, and, spoilers, it's going to make it to third as well. So the deck did very well for having a limited representation, and I expect that'll probably mean that it'll get a little bit more representation in coming weeks.
V Dells in third place, Sealed Tombs Vampires, and Switcheroo Spellbooks. This is a massive foolish consistency. You got the 3 Gozukis and the 3 Samurai Skulls. And there's also a Sphere Karibo in this deck. No special big monster though. Just the 3 core 2000 attack vampires. And then Switcheroo Spellbooks. This is a 21 card version. Not much different. I think it just has the extra Cosmic Cyclone from what I could tell.
Yeah, that seems to be about it. Since you have Switcheroo, the second Cosmic Cyclone might actually be just better, I think, because you're more aggressively using your skill. You're not relying as much on your opponent dealing you some damage. So I like it, even though I tend to lean towards preferring 20-card decks. I think it might make it more consistent instead of less consistent, which would be an interesting little, unexpected result.
And Lotso, third place, Switcheroo, Masked Heroes, Sealed Tombs, Amazoness. Not much to say about Masked Heroes. Their decks always look the same. Not the same going on here. And I've noticed that there are more Galaxy Cyclones being played for Amazoness.
Yeah, I think it's a decent card for the deck. The cool thing, of course, is that you can pitch it to the princess and then activate the graveyard effect. It has to be the next turn, or yeah, the next turn you can activate the graveyard effect, but you still it's kind of like a free discard for the princess. So that's cool. The Paleozoic are similar in that you can still get that secondary effect once it's already in the graveyard. So I I don't think there's a ton to talk about in this list, but it seems solid. Seems like a meta choice, obviously with Sealed Tombs and the Galaxy Cyclone stuff.
Okay, so that's it. We're gonna wrap up the Kaiba Cup now. The Kaiba Cup ended late Sunday into early Monday. Doesn't count into Monday, I guess it's late Sunday. And I guess we talk about where we finished. We both finished around rank 10,000 global. I think I was rank 9,910-ish. I forget. Somewhere less than 100 out of 10,000.
Yeah, I don't. Let me see if I could just pull it up. I don't remember exactly where I finished. Yeah.
10-1?
No, I was 11,001. So my DP was 6,051, which I think put me about one game behind you or something like that, right? You were at about 7,000?
Let me check, I forget. It's been so long, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, in classic deck tech fashion, I had planned to. Well, I don't know if I would have really played more because all I really wanted to do was get the 30K and get the 3 wins per day thing, which I missed a couple of those 3 wins per day things because I was being foolish. But I also just missed the end of the event because I went into the KC Cup one day and it was like, KC Cup's over. And I was like, oh, whoops. So if I had known that we were close, I might have tried to race you a little bit. I might have challenged you.
I had 6,474 DP.
Oh, wow.
And I was rank 9,918.
There you go. So that's half a win. You were half a win ahead of me. And
I know, yeah.
Just barely made that cut.
My win percentage was like 52%. Somewhere around there.
Oh, yeah. Mine wasn't great either. Let me see. Does it show that still or no?
I don't know. I just remember that that number.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really seeing it here. Oh, yeah. You can pull it up in the details. Mine was 56%.
Oh, yeah. See, if you put more games in, you would beat me.
Maybe. I don't know. I only played 16 games in Stage 2, so that'll show you. If you looked at... I saw a couple of the people who got like the top finishes were posting it on Twitter, which is really cool. And Duel Links Meta actually has a list of successful deck lists and a little write-up thing. Maybe we can find that and throw that into the show notes too. But I saw that the people who ended up making it were like playing like 500 games or something in Stage 2. And I'm like, cool.
Hey.
I played 16.
I didn't play 16, but I played something a lot less.
Yeah. And it just felt like there were not a ton of incentives for people like who weren't trying to get into the World Champs or whatever to play it. We've talked about this before, but I just want to highlight it again that the rewards are they used to be tiered, a little bit more spread out. And I think the intention of that was to get everyone to continue playing in Stage 2. And then it seems like they made an intentional decision to instead make the Stage 2 rewards not like very tight at the top. And so the reason there was so that only the people who really wanted to compete were playing Stage 2, I think. And that's fine, except that it makes it for people like me who are kind of like casual competitive, where I'm not trying to get into Worlds, but I would like to still compete a little bit and get some rewards and stuff. We don't really have a place in Stage 2 anymore. And so it was I was just playing to get my 3 wins per day to get a free pack. And so that's why I had so few games. Whereas if I were... before in the old system, I probably would have played like 50 games instead of 16 or something. It still would have been
Right, yeah.
not nearly enough to get, to compete with those top players. And obviously I wouldn't have been playing as high of a level anyway, so I wouldn't have been competing with them anyway. But I still would have been able to get, maybe instead of a top 10K, I would have gotten a top 1,000, I think I got once.
Yeah, you got that the first time.
Right, yeah. And that was because they were giving rewards for top 1,000. And I was like, cool, I could hit that. That's something I could strive for. And I kind of missed that a little bit. I understand why they wanted to switch it, but I wish that they didn't.
Yeah, this 10K thing we're talking about, it's just like 2,000 gold. I think that was the only difference.
Right, so there's no reason except for our little competition between ourselves, which we didn't even foster this time because we weren't telling each other where we were at or anything like we have in times in the past. So it was kind of just there was no reason, really. Just a bummer.
And we both noticed how Stage 1 and Stage 2 were completely, the decks around were quite different, weren't they?
Yeah, for sure. I felt like they were a drastically different meta. I was talking about it before. I hit the end of Stage 1. I hit dual level max very easily with my Sea Stealth / Mermail deck, and that's because almost all of my matchups at that area of the meta and at that time were versus the Endless Trap Hell Amazoness, and that matchup is incredibly favored for Sea Stealth. So I had made a good meta call, and it was working out for me. And then Stage 2 started, and I don't think I saw one. I probably did see one, but I definitely didn't see the same volume. Probably fewer than just a handful of the Endless Trap Hell Amazoness, and it seemed like it kind of just disappeared from the meta, and that giant meta switch, of course, completely changed how my deck works. I couldn't buy a win with Sea Stealth after once I got into Stage 2, and I had to end up switching decks, and that was a kind of a really weird situation.
Yeah, I noticed, for me, it was really hard on Stage 1. I think that it might have been I struggled against that Endless Trap Hell deck. And once I got to Stage 2, it was like, oh, this feels like ranked decks, like decks I've seen a ton. Particularly Masked Heroes and Fur Hires.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like nothing, it was more familiar to me. Even though it was annoying, it was more familiar to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's that. Because I haven't been, as evidenced by my not getting a King of Games in a long time, I haven't been playing the most competitive side of the ladder for a while. So I don't know why. Well, I guess we saw that a little bit as well on both sides, how it was kind of different. The KC Cup is just different from ranked a little bit. Sounds like maybe not quite as much, but was the Endless Trap Hell invasion in Stage 1, was that the part that was different than the ladder for you, or was it the Stage 2 that was different from the ladder?
I think it was that. It's like the Endless Trap Hell deck, you don't see a ton on the ladder, I think. You see different Amazoness decks, but not that one all the time, I think.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, I was playing Vampires, and they kind of just destroy one card at a time, and then that just does their Endless Trap Hell, because then they just send it back in their deck. So it's like, you're doing them a favor.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, I guess maybe that'll be my deck then to try to hit King of Games this month.
Oh, so we have a link for the top decks if you want to check out top players, how they did in the KC Cup. All there. So wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Talk about Yubel, Rise of Yubel, the Ultimate Nightmare. We finally get her. It was actually time-gated. The event was time-gated. We thought we were getting her, and then we had to wait till this morning. We had to wake up oversleeping, and then find out we got Yubel. So, but farming. This has been one of the easier farms because she doesn't do anything. She's a very reactive AI. That's just how the deck works. It's very reactive, so you could just play no monsters.
Yeah, it works out really easily. Pretty much the only thing she has that attacks are the tomatoes. And I think she only has 2 of them, right?
There's 3 tomatoes.
Oh, okay, she's got 3? Alright, well, anyway. I've been running Day Counter Blow, the continuous trap that whenever you get direct attack direct attacked, the attacker dies after combat. And then so I just run that and a little bit of life gain. So usually she'll get like 3 attacks, and that's 4,200. So if I get any life gain, I survive. And then I actually end up having a lot of life gain in the deck, so I end up doing the finisher with Raw for the 10k bonus and the divinity bonus and all of that stuff. And it's more than necessary because they have the campaign going on now. You end up getting like 9 point something k, but even without the campaign, whenever that ends, you would still get an 8k. It works out very well.
Yep, I've been using the ham strat, and this strategy is similar, except you have to use a lot of stall cards. So you use like Wall of D on the tomatoes, and then the draining shield, floodgate, things like whatever you have. And during the last turn, you play ham strat in defense. You play Book of Taiyu, which flips it, so you get some tokens. You play Creature Seizure, so you give them a token. Tribute all 3 of your monsters for Raw, and you attack into the token for more than 10,000.
There you go.
So, Yubel's skills seem to be a combination of different characters. So there's like Bakura skills, there's some Merrick skills. I think there's like different skills. Power of the Dark, so that's like a Yugi skills. There's different. She copies from different people, but she does have 3 distinct skills of her own. And let's go over these skills. Allure of Darkness. And be used each time your life points decreased by 1,800. So it's an 1,800 loss skill. Instead of conducting your normal draw, Allure of Darkness is added to your hand from outside your deck. What Allure of Darkness does is draw 2 cards. Okay, that's a pretty good start. Draw 2 cards. Almost Pot of Greed. Then banish 1 dark monster from your hand. Or if you don't have any in your hand, send your entire hand to the graveyard. So it's like a conditional Pot of Greed, I guess, but you can kind of do banish strategies. There's certain cards that come back with banish, like the DD Survivor and DD Scout Plane. I think they have that banish come back ability. It's an interesting card, but I don't know if it's worth using a whole skill over it. But
yeah, I was thinking it might see some play as a combo thing because it's obviously draw or farming for the same reason. I think I saw someone talking about how it might work with the what are they called? The guys who discard your own guys.
Dark Worlds?
Yes, yeah, Dark World type cards. I don't know. It's banished though, so it's not a discard.
Fabled, maybe? Oh.
Yeah. There's also there's a trap where you can get back a banished dark monster, so you can use it as a benefit. I think it's called like Release from Darkness or something. So, anyway, I think that one has some potential. It's not an obviously like broken one like 3-star Demotion was when we got that, but it still seems pretty like interesting to me.
Of is Pain. If you receive damage from your opponent's card effect, when your life points are at 2,000 or below, your opponent will receive the same amount of damage. So, this is situational, and it's dependent on burn damage, like a card effect damage. So, it's only useful if they're like at low life points and you fool them and you win the game. But I don't see this one seeing a ton of play.
Yeah, it seems weak because it's limited to card effects. I think it would be pretty good, have some potential at least, if it were not. Because then you can get into situations where you would just win or they can't kill you because you're at under 2,000. It's probably why they blocked it from doing that. But limiting it to effect damage is a huge limitation because no one uses effect damage.
Isn't it weird that her own cards are battle damage and this one's effect damage? It's a little weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I guess maybe the idea is that you can't win, like, against her.
Imagine if this skill did battle damage and it just made like 1 million draws.
Yeah.
Like you take fatal damage and then you activate it.
Right, right.
And you make
That would be pretty funny.
My name is Yubel is the last skill. Can be used by returning one Yubel Terror Incarnate or one Yubel Ultimate Nightmare from your hand to your deck. Add Yubel. The skill can only be used once per turn. We don't have those cards yet. But you can run a deck with all of those cards. And, I guess this sets up the whole plan, because you don't need those cards in your hand. You could just tutor them from the deck. So it's to make those cards, the Yubel strategy work. That's what this skill is for, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's the plan. I'm not sure if it's worth it, but that sounds like it's the plan.
Yeah. Most likely she'll be used for other things. Like her skills that go with other people, like she has balance. You'll see her maybe. Something like that.
Yeah, balance always sees play. So that's nice. I didn't actually check to see what all of her ones that she could pick up from the drop skills are, but
it's all available in the game client, so you can check it all out.
Yeah.
The new dual skills feature is great.
It is great. I love it. It made it so much easier to find these things.
Alright, let's look at the event to drop cards. Yubel itself. 10-star 0/0 Fiend. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage from battles involving this card. Before damage calculation, when this face-up attack position monster is attacked by an opponent's monster, inflict damage equal to that monster's attack. During your end phase, tribute one other monster or destroy this card. When this card is destroyed, except by its own effect, its owner can special summon one Terror Incarnate from their hand, deck, or graveyard. This is how it all works. You get a 2 tribute Yubel, 0 attack and defense. She doesn't take any damage. She just is immune to battle damage, and that's her flaw, I think. No effect protection, no banish protection.
Yeah, and it's like not weak to, or it is weak to just any sort of targeting thing, so you could just get it out of the way with, I don't know, with an econ, or you can silence it. What's it called? We were talking about it before with the chalice. Yeah, and so there's just so many ways to kind of play around it. It seems like it will likely not be the most impactful in this, at least as the game is now.
Yeah. And it'll be great if you had a card that forced them to attack him. I think the only card we have is Dark Spirit of the Silent, and that's just running another trap card just for the deck, I guess. I don't know if there will be a dedicated deck to make it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it now, but we do have lots of ways to kind of get cards out. It's a 2 tribute, but we have the cyber style now, so yeah. I definitely wouldn't write it off. I think there's some potential here. Something might end up happening. The evolved forms, as you'd call them, of Yubel seem very powerful to me if you can kind of keep them on the board. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to experiment with it a little bit, see if I could do anything. I wouldn't be surprised if someone does, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it ends up just being worthless.
You should try it out, because you'll get 10 gems just for doing it.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's the plan.
This could be the most useful card of the bunch. Grave Squirmer, 1-star 0/0 Fiend. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, target one card on the field and destroy it. I see this as a more flexible Yomi ship, because you could target anything after it's destroyed.
That's true. It has, it's a 0/0, right? Or something. Yep. So it can't attack. But...
It hits for 0.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that is an important distinction, I guess you're right. Because you can attack it you can attack with it to make sure that it dies, so that you can destroy something. But what I was getting at is that it can't, like, every once in a while you could go for lethal with a Yomi ship, and you can't do that with this. But it is a powerful effect, you're right. And it's a fiend, Dark Fiend, that's always relevant. 1 star might also be relevant every once in a while. So there's some uses there.
I expect to see it at some point.
Yeah.
Samsara Lotus, 1-0/0. A plant. During your end phase, if you control no spells or traps, you can special summon this from your graveyard and face up attack. The card's controller takes 1,000 damage during each standby. So it's like a ramp card, but we have better ramp cards. Yeah, you can use Cyber Style, it's a better ramp effect. Self-damaging aspect is something for dual skills, I think. There might be something there, it's not apparent. It's kind of like the card Granadora, where you take damage, kind of.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you in that it seems like we have better options that do similar things, so I'm not super excited about this, but you're right. Sometimes it's like the worst card is actually better for, specific reasons. So with the self-damage, you could also play her and Cyber Style for lots of ramp. There's lots of stuff like that, I think, that are possibilities.
Regenerating Rose, 7-star plant with 0 attack and 1,500 defense. First destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. You can special summon 2 Regenerating Rose tokens with 1,200 attack and defense. I don't see much here. This kind of has a ramp effect too, but you have to pay 2 to get it out, and it just gets 2 tokens out for a 0 1,500. I don't see much potential with this one.
Yeah, it seems like it wants you to cheat it out and then use that to cheat out other stuff, maybe. But then you might as well just cheat out the other stuff in the first place. So I'm not exactly sure either.
Maybe there's like plant cards. I don't know all the plant cards. A bunch of them came out in a box once. And
yeah, I mean...
Aging Mad Plants, I don't know, something.
Well, yeah, I was thinking the Rose Lover is obviously good for getting this card out. But then I'm back to that whole, like, what's the point? Because you might as well have just gotten out whatever you were trying to get out in the first place. So I think there's definitely ways you could use this card. I'm just wondering if there's a reason why you would even bother doing so.
It'd be like synchros. Sometimes they want 2 level 3 things out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I don't understand a card, you could just say it could be synchros, and I'd be like, oh, okay, because I don't know anything. I'd be like, sure, if you say so.
See how it's going to be on for next week onwards.
Yeah, good meme right there. Good show meme. We're preemptively setting it up.
Vampiric Orcus and Desdendel. So Vampiric Orcus is a 1700 plant. When it's normal summon, you can special summon Desdendel from your hand, and Desdendel is a union. So as is all unions, you can attach it to Desdendel, and it becomes immune to something for 1 turn. I mean, you could destroy the Desdendel's protection. And its effect is, each time the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster, you can special summon a Wicked Plant token with 800 attack and defense to your side of the field. You can get continuous tokens, so as long as the Orcus destroys stuff, but it only has 1,700 attack. So, kind of relying on a 1,700 to do all that is a bit...
Yeah, it doesn't... I'm not impressed with the Union monsters generally. I don't think this one's significantly better than the ones we have now that see no play, so I don't think this will likely see much play either.
And it's notable that the EX rewards are of cards that we only have 1 of. So there's the... Well, Mirror of Oaths, we get 2. This is the 3rd copy. Eternal Rest, I believe... Gift, EX Trader, Duel-a-thon. So this would be our 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Peak Shield is our 3rd as well. So try to get those if you could.
Yeah, I've already picked up a couple of them just because for that very reason. I was like, oh, these are cool. These are cards that we haven't had an opportunity to get full sets of yet, even though they're not like necessarily the strongest cards, but they're relevant, or could be relevant at least, and it's better for me than buying the cards that I'm going to pick up from farming anyway. I'm very close to picking everything up. I have 5 of the Grave Squirmer already. I have 3 of the Desdendel. I don't have my Regenerating Roses yet, but I do expect to get them by the end because I'm doing, like I said, very well farming. So, and then the experience, these booster things and the gold is all useless, so I might as well get those cards that we can't get.
There are 2 cards right now that are time gated. By time gated, we mean we have to wait for time to get these cards. And that's the 2 Yubel cards, the Terror Incarnate and Ultimate Nightmare. I'm not going to go over those cards right now because we don't have them technically, but they are, you should try to get them, and they are unlocked by challenges, which we believe are things like defeating Yubel at level 50.
Yeah, I think I saw that there's going to be a level 50 and a level 60, so I expect level 50 to get Incarnate, level 60 to get Ultimate Nightmare. I don't remember if I saw that from an official source or not, though, so we're not 100% sure. We have seen the cards. The cards themselves are actually in the game already under, like, if you go into the card trader, you can find them, and then you click on how to obtain, and it will show you that it's from this event, even though it's not really been announced in the event yet itself. So we expect you get one from each of those challenges. So you'll end up with probably, well, at least 3 Yubel, because they're just throwing them at us, and 1 of each of the Terror Incarnate and Ultimate Nightmare, probably.
There are also level up cards. Synced cards. Memory Crusher is a fiend with 3 stars, 1,600. If this card successfully attacks directly, inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each card in their extra deck. This card sucks, but it's possible they raise the extra deck in the future with Synchros. So, something to think about.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, maybe that's what they're getting at here. It's also funny because up until now there was no downside to having an extra deck, and the upside was that you might give your opponent some misinformation. And so for every competitive, like if I'm try-harding for the KC Cup, or maybe if I'm in Legend or whatever, I will make sure that I have an extra deck no matter what, just to give my opponent a little bit of misinformation at the start. Unless I'm running my Sea Stealth deck, then I don't really bother, because there is no Sea Stealth deck that runs extra deck cards at this point yet. But anyway, now there's some downside, so I don't think this will change anything, but it could conceivably change things, so that's kind of interesting.
Cure Continuous Trap card. When your opponent summons a monster, they gain life points equal to the attack, half the attack of one of the summoned monsters of your choice. So obviously this helps your opponent, but you could do something with bad reactions to Samachi and just keep burning them down. And you can combo this with a sleep at the switch to control the board, so something going on here.
So much lockdown. Do we have... There we go.
Spell Chronicle, Continuous Spell. This is a really weird card. Send all cards in your hand to the graveyard. Let them remove from play 5 spells or traps from your deck. Each time your opponent activates a spell, place a Chronicle counter on this card. Remove 2 Chronicle counters from this card to have your opponent select one of the cards removed from play and add it to your hand. When this card is removed from the field, you can take 500 damage for each card that is removed from play due to this card's effect. Basically, you tutor out 5 cards from your deck, and then every 2 spells your opponent activates, you get one of them back, but they get to choose. So they have to activate 10 spells for you to get all the cards back. It's really slow, really confusing card. I don't see a place for it. Unless there's some banish thing going on, maybe.
Yeah, that might be it. Because you are specifically selecting, but it's 5 spell or trap cards. I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head of cards that benefit from spells or traps. Well, I guess there's the spellbook card that gets a spellbook back that's banished, but most of the cards that...
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was thinking most of the cards, though, that do get stuff back are getting back monsters, so I don't know. I don't see how this card will see much play. Like you said, there might be something we're missing, but I'm not as your backup, I'm missing it also.
Cool. All right, let's talk about decklist features.
Yeah, so they added these decklist features. It feels like just an update to the deck board instead of kind of a brand new feature. Whereas before you could just see decks that people were posted, now you can see decks and select one, maybe even more than one, I'm not sure, but definitely select one and pick it as your target deck your goal deck list, and then it will kind of show you your progress towards finishing it. It makes it easier to find the cards within that deck, the deck list. You can click on the individual cards and do the how to obtain per usual, and so it's that's kind of cool. You can also submit your own deck lists if you want, and then people can kind of like or rate them, and you can look at the decks that are the top rated. So if you're into getting internet points, stuff like that, you can do that. It doesn't seem like there's any in-game benefit, at least that I've seen, for doing so. So it's just kind of if you're interested in sharing your deck and hopefully people like it, and that feels good. That's cool. Other than that, though, I'm not terribly excited about this feature. It's better than it not existing, but it doesn't seem like it adds a ton of value to me.
Right. There's always the struggle of games using their own forums versus some other medium. And this is kind of like their forum, I guess, type thing.
Yeah, that's true. And it's always like, it seems like the people who are big in those forums are the people who are like medium engaged, because they're engaged enough to care and post, but they're not engaged enough to go outside of the game and post in kind of maybe the more robust and more competitive, usually, communities. So, I don't know. For people like us and most people who are listening to the show, probably, you would just go to some place like Duel Links Meta or maybe even Reddit and pick up deck lists and stuff instead. But it is kind of cool that this way you can more easily track them, I guess. Track your progress and how you're getting closer to the deck. So, I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like I said, glad it exists, but not something I'm going to be using.
Choose a gift campaign. We get 2 new cards. Monarch's Awaken is a trap card. If you have no cards in your extra deck, target one face-up tributed summon monster you control. Its effects are negated, but is also unaffected by the effects of other cards other than this card. The card becomes immune to everything, which is very interesting, but it becomes a normal monster, essentially. Not a normal monster, but has no abilities. And vampires tribute summon all the time, but you kind of want their effects. And you might just want a monster around to be a vampire to trigger certain cards. Maybe there's something. That's how I see this card.
Yeah.
Being a zombie, just being a zombie. Right,
yeah. I knew what you meant. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm not that impressed, I guess, or excited about it.
Anti-fusion device. This is a simple card that just says, destroy one face-up fusion monster. So it's a specific hate card for fusions. And the best one this works against is Masked Heroes. Unfortunately, against Life Cost 0, they could get as many of them out as they can. So this wouldn't really change their plan.
Yeah. I'm looking for it now, but I don't see it in front of me yet. What is it a quick play or is it a regular match?
Regular trap.
Oh, regular trap. Okay. Well then...
Destroy one face-up fusion card.
Then it helps in the sense that they can't summon in the middle of combat, right?
Yeah, it stops that second... It stops the mask... If you use mask change during combat, it could destroy that guy, basically.
Yeah. But I was also thinking against the Life Cost 0 decks even... I guess if it would make them have to start bringing out the Ryu Senshi first. But
Well, it could negate the it could negate the Rise Setsu and negate this card, right?
right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You force the it makes their deck less potent because it forces them to bring that guy out first instead of just two beat sticks or something. I don't know. They might have been doing that anyway, or they might just be running Hate Grenade or something. So I don't know. Not the most. I don't expect it will see play unless. Well, we're going to see more fusions, right, in the future. So.
Well, synchros aren't fusions, so I don't know.
Oh.
We don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay. Well, whenever I say something about synchros, just imagine the opposite, because it'll probably be true. Okay.
Fusions are purple. Synchros are white. So they're gonna be in these white cards.
Oh, I kind of like that. Now I'm into synchros. That's fun. Just like it sounds so clean.
They're really clean-looking cards.
Yeah.
XYZs are black, so we have to wait a while before those come.
Okay, that's kind of cool too.
Pretty cool.
Edgy. Yeah. All right.
I'm sorry, I said XYZs. They're called XZs. I'm sorry, I don't know the terminology.
Everyone's just screaming at their phones now, or whatever. All right, let's move on.
Syrus is coming to the gate. It's the end of his event. One notable thing is that Jetroid is part of this farming pool. Check out what cards you don't have. I have all his cards, so I don't have to farm him. But if you're just starting the game, you probably need his cards. Something like Drilloid's something nice to have. A card, that has some use. And yeah.
Yeah, need his cards in quotation marks because most of them aren't good. I am missing a couple, I guess, but I'm not in a huge rush to get them, so I might pick them up or I might just wait until I get them from finding him just out in the Duel World. So we'll see.
Upcoming news: we might get 5Ds next week. Excited?
Yeah. I mean, it says late September, so next week's kind of the earliest I would expect it. So it might be next week or the week after, but that's exciting.
And there's some event with Esperova. We're probably going to get new news soon. But some news regarding 5Ds is we have leaked blurbs of each character that we're going to start out with. What we're going to do now is read these blurbs. And see because we don't know anything about 5Ds. We never watched the show, so let's just read some of these blurbs. Do you want to start or should I start?
I could do one.
Yeah, you go. We just alternate.
Okay. Yusei Fudo. Though calm and collected, no one can deny that a burning fire rages in Yusei's heart. Through his bond of friendship, always, and his destiny as a Signer, don't know what that is, Yusei has saved the world countless times. Wow. His junk deck, alright, focuses on low-level monsters, but he extracts their full potential, through synchro summoning. His go-to monster is the Signer Dragon, Stardust Dragon. So, that's exciting.
A lot of people like Yusei. They say he's better than Jaden. People don't like Jaden sometimes, but they like Yusei a lot. So I don't know what there is to like about him, but he seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he saved the world countless times. That's a lot of world saving. So
he uses a junk deck.
Yeah, I like that too. It makes it sound like it's terrible, but and we've seen everyone here starts out with a terrible deck in Duel Links, so maybe his is the least terrible because it's supposed to be terrible. Yeah.
There's a class thing in 5Ds, poor people versus these people. I think he's a poor person, which his junk deck kind of fits into that theme.
Yeah. It also reminds me of Chaz, right? Because it's not junk, but his whole thing is that he has these Ojamas, which are kind of terrible, and then he makes moderately good use out of them, so I don't know.
It's meme use.
Alright, your turn.
Alright. Jack Atlas. Jack Atlas goes by many names. The King, the Master of Faster, and even Signer. But Yusei's friend is also his chief rival. Full of pride, Jack won't rest until he defeats Yusei to regain the Turbo Dueling Crown.
Woo!
His dueling style is to crush his opponents with overwhelming force. His ace monster is the legendary Signer Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend. Sounds like the new Kaiba, right?
Yeah, kinda.
That he's friendlier.
Yeah, he's got a friend, so that's nice. I like that. Well, first of all, turbo dueling, is that just dueling on your motorcycle? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay, that's exciting. And then this Signer Dragon sounds interesting because it's a dragon and an archfiend. So I wonder, that's got a lot. Those are two of more supported archetypes. Archfiend's not like super supported, but it has a lot of support, and dragons, of course, have a ton of support. So that's interesting. Anything else on that guy, or?
Seems like the duardinist, or you call that thing, the second protagonist.
Sure. I don't know the term for that, but cool. All right. Crow Hogan. Yusei and Jack's friends since childhood. Crow's rough exterior hides a kind heart. He raises orphans, affectionately calls them his jackals. Affectionately calling them his jackals. During his battle against the Dark Signers, he became a Signer himself. With his Blackwing deck, he outwits his opponents to victory. His ace monster is the Signer Dragon, Black-Winged Dragon. So, I like this guy. He sounds like he's, I guess he's with the poor people, it sounds like, of course. And he's kind of like the king of, like, the little orphan thieves, sounds like, so. And then outwitting his opponents. This one speaks to me.
Blackwings are something people talk about a lot. I feel like he has a really powerful archetype that will be nerfed a bit for Duel Links. Like, I feel like they're a really strong archetype.
Okay,
He might be relevant, like for competitive play.
I don't know anything about it. I also, outwitting his opponents sounds like it could have a cool skill. Whereas, like, Atlas's, where it just says crushing his opponents, sounds like the skill would be very basic, like you just get plus attack or something like that.
Beat down. He gets beat down.
Right, exactly, yeah, he gets beat down. Whereas outwitting sounds like kind of more Bandit Keith type skills, maybe, so that's kind of cool.
Alright. Akiza Izinski, a Signer bearing the mark of the Crimson Dragon. Akiza was branded as a witch.
Ooh.
And widely feared for her psychic ability to make damage from duels real. Her powers isolated her from society, until Yusei's kindness allowed her to open her heart. Her plant-type deck focuses on roses. Her ace monster is one of the Signer Dragons, Black Rose Dragon. Very interesting. She's a witch. That gives you plus points.
Yeah,
She seems to be like the girl of the group. So that's something there.
Yeah, I think there's one more coming up, maybe two, but yeah.
Child, yeah.
Yeah.
Child.
So that I like the roses has, we were just talking about the plants and stuff, so maybe there's a little bit more there that we haven't seen yet. Maybe this is kind of prepping for her.
I always get excited about psychic cards, so maybe she has some psychic cards.
Yeah, maybe there's some psychic cards too. So that's interesting though, the plant type and psychic type. It sounds like the deck is plant type. I wonder if she has any psychic synergies, though.
Yeah, maybe. She's a witch, though, so...
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, that's cool. I like it. I'm seeing her as, like, Scarlet Witch, because roses and witch and I don't know. Leo, as Luna's older twin brother. That makes no sense, but okay. I guess he's a second older or something.
He came out hours before her.
Okay. Leo feels it's his duty to protect his frail sister. With boundless energy, no mistake or pratfall will get him down. His machine-type deck is overflowing with Morphtronics. His ace monster is Powered Tool Dragon. Pratfalls, I like that. Saving frail little sister, so he's got some Joey to him, it sounds like, with machine types instead.
Machines are always relevant. You probably put Pulse Mines in his deck.
Yeah, Pulse Mines, maybe even the rare Metamorph. I haven't seen that card in a while, but it's a solid card. So, cool.
Okay. Luna, Leo's twin sister, is also one of the Signers, so I guess he's not a Signer, and she is.
Ooh.
Completely opposite to Leo, Luna is gentle, mature, and polite and mature for her age. So that means Leo is not polite or mature.
I'm telling you, he's Joey.
She has the ability to hear voices over her dual monster spirits. So she built her fairy deck using those same monsters. Her ace monster is not only a Signer dragon, but also her friend, Ancient Fairy Dragon. You see these things about hearing dual monster spirits a lot in GX. So she's kind of like Chaz or Joey, in that, not Chaz and Jaden in that regard.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Seems like she's damaged, too. She's damaged. She's frail. Something.
Yeah, it'd be funny if it turns out that she can't, like, she doesn't have any actual bond to the cards. She's just crazy, and so he's, like, taking care of her, and she just is hearing things.
Alright, get the last guy here.
Alright, last guy. Officer Tetsu Trudge. As the chief of sector security, Trudge has a strong sense of justice. It's unfortunate that he also has a strong sense of rude behavior. Trudge used to look upon satellite citizens as garbage, but Yusei's heroism made him reevaluate his views. His police deck is a sector security staple, with his ace monster, Goya Guardian, locking up countless criminals.
This is hilarious.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure what's going on in their world, because it sounds like he can, like, his cards manifest to lock up people and their motorcycles and stuff. So, I don't know. This sounds interesting. Now I want to watch this show.
I know a little bit about this guy. Do you remember Season 0 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yugi gets beat up by his guy? Like, they keep showing flashbacks of him in school getting beat up.
Sounds familiar. Sure.
It's this guy. It's the same guy.
Okay. All right. That's pretty funny.
It was like a hall monitor or something, and then he tied up Joey and Tristan, but then Yugi, like, stood in his way. He's like, they're my friends.
Yeah.
It's this guy. That's funny.
That is pretty funny. So, that is interesting, then. They're in the same world, but playing, like, completely different rules and...
It's like 30 years later or 20 years later.
Okay. That makes sense, then. Because, like, it seems like such a different world in terms of the world rules, but yet they're tied together, so... That's cool, I guess. I don't know what...
At least these characters are very entertaining.
Yeah.
It seems like they're very entertaining.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know what a police deck means, so we'll see. That's, I guess, lots of guardians.
There's cards with sirens and nightsticks.
Well, so far all of those have been terrible, so hopefully he's got better ones than Syrus does.
Alright, so that is it for us today. Thank you for listening. You can find our podcast by searching the Dual Assessment Podcast. Please subscribe and listen. Check out the podcast and more on our website, thedualassessment.wordpress.com. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/thedualassessment. If you want to help support our work, patreon.com/dual_assessment. Email us, dualassessment@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter, dual_assessment, me at Green Rangers.
Yep, that's right. We will catch you guys next week.